first night, I slept like a rock. The second night, I woke up to the sound of someone walking barefoot down the hallway. Not stomping. Slow, careful steps. The soft slap of skin on wood. I sat up in bed and listened. The hall outside my room was black. No street light spill, no moon. Just a long throat of darkness with my bedroom door as its mouth. The steps stopped right outside my door. I waited for a knock. Nothing. Then, very quietly, so quietly it felt like the sound was inside my skull. Something exhaled, like a person leaning close to whisper through the crack beneath the door. I told myself it was the heater kicking on. I told myself anything I could. And still, I didn't open the door. The next morning, I found a thin line of soot on the floorboards outside my room, as if someone had dragged a finger through fireplace ash and drawn a straight path from my door to the stairs. I didn't have a fireplace. I didn't even own charcoal. I cleaned it up and went to work. By the time I came home, I was embarrassed at myself for being rattled by dust and imagination. That night, I started hearing it again. Footsteps, but not in the hallway. Above me, in the attic. At midnight, exactly, the house would get colder in a way that wasn't natural. Not the slow creep of winter. This was instant, as if a freezer door had opened somewhere in the walls. The air would turn sharp, and my breath would start to show. And then the pacing would begin. Back and forth, back and forth. Like someone was trapped up there, wearing their worry into the beams. I bought a ladder. I bought a flashlight. I waited until daylight and pulled the attic hatch down. The smell hit first. Not mold, not dead animal. Something scorched, like hot metal and burnt hair. The kind of smell you can taste on the back of your tongue. The attic itself was empty. Insulation, old rafters, spider webs. No footprints, no boxes, no signs of anyone living up there. But the wood beams above the hatch, right where you'd naturally set your hand to pull yourself up, were blackened. Not soot, not smoke damage. Finger marks, like something had gripped the beam so hard it left char. That was the moment the house stopped feeling creepy and started feeling personal. Like I knew I was paying attention now. That night, I tried to drown it out. I left the TV on low. I played music. I scrolled until my eyes burned. At midnight, the power clicked off. Not just the TV, the whole house. Silence swallowed everything. Then, thud. From the hallway. Something heavy, like a shoulder against drywall. Another thud. Closer. I sat up, heart banging like it wanted out of my ribs. My phone screen was the only light in the room, and it made the shadows jump and shiver. "Hello?" I called, because humans are stupid when they're scared. No answer. I swung my legs over the bed and stepped to the door. My hand hovered over the knob. I didn't turn it. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe. The same instinct that makes your stomach turn right before you find out why. From the other side of the door, a voice spoke. Not loud, not even threatening. Just close and wrong. It said my name, the way you'd say it if you were reading it off a headstone. I backed away so fast I hit the dresser. My phone slipped from my hand and clattered to the floor. The screen spun, throwing dizzy light across the room. And then I heard it. Scratching. Not at the door. Under the bed. Small at first, like fingernails dragging across wood. Then faster. Eager. Impatient. As if whatever was down there had been waiting for me to notice it. I stood perfectly still, staring at the shadow beneath the bed, my throat too tight for sound. The scratching stopped. In that thick, dead dead silence, I heard something shift under the bed. Something that had weight. Then the mattress dipped, slowly, like a hand pressing into it from underneath. The blanket slid toward the edge. I snatched it back, more reflex than courage, and in that instant, the air turned warm. Too warm, like opening an oven. The smell of scorched metal filled my nose. A whisper rose from the floorboards. Not words. A sound like laughter smothered in a mouthful of dirt. I bolted for the door. I didn't open it. I ran straight through it. I wish that was a metaphor. For a second, my body was ice water, pins, and needles, as if the house itself had decided I wasn't solid anymore. Then I stumbled into the hallway, gasping, and the power surged back on so suddenly the ceiling light flickered like it was blinking. I stood there in the harsh yellow glow and tried to make sense of what I'd just done. My bedroom door was closed behind me, locked from the outside. I didn't own a key for it. I don't know how long I stood there before my brain finally gave me one simple thought. Get out. I grabbed my coat and keys and ran downstairs. That's when I saw the front door. There were scratch marks in it, deep grooves like a dog had tried to dig its way through. But these marks weren't at knee height. They started at the doorknob and went up, as if something tall had wrapped fingers around the knob and missed, as if it didn't need to use the door, as if it was only pretending. I didn't go back upstairs. I didn't go back for my phone. I didn't go back for anything that mattered. I slept in my car, in a gas station parking lot, with the dome light on and the windows cracked just enough to keep the glass from fogging. At midnight, my car radio turned on by itself. Static hissed. Then a voice came through, soft and intimate, like someone leaning in close. It said, very clearly, "You brought me home." I slammed the radio off, hands shaking so hard I couldn't get the key into the ignition. And as I sat there in the dark, trying not to breathe, I realized the cold wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the car. The glass began to fog, not from my breath, but from something else. From the passenger side window, where a slow, careful line appeared in the condensation. A finger tracing letters, one by one. Not rushed, not angry, patient, like it had all the time in the world. It wrote, "Stay," and underneath it, another line, "Or I'll follow." The message hung there on the glass like a bruise. I didn't blink. I didn't breathe. I just stared at those words until my eyes watered and the condensation started to run, dragging the letters into long, wet streaks. Then something tapped the roof of my car. Once. A slow, deliberate knock. Not hail, not a branch, not the kind of random noise you can shrug off. A knuckle. It knocked again. Twice. 3 times. Each one softer, like it was learning how little force it needed to make me move. I forced my shaking hands down to the keys and turned the ignition. The engine coughed. The dome light flickered. And the tapping stopped. For a half second I thought, maybe that was it. Maybe it was only brave in the dark. Maybe it needed the house. Then the radio crackled on again. Not static this time. Breathing. A slow inhale that dragged through the speakers like something sniffing for me. Like it could smell fear the way dogs smell blood. I slammed the power button so hard my thumb hurt. Silence. I threw the car in reverse and peeled out of the gas station lot like I'd robbed the place. Tires squealed. Gravel spit. My heartbeat drowned out everything else. I didn't look in the rearview mirror. That's a lie. I looked once, and I I saw a figure standing under the gas station light. Too tall, too thin, bent in the wrong places like it had practiced being human, but never learned the angles. The light above it flickered, dimmed, and brightened again, like it couldn't decide whether to reveal it or hide it. When the light steadied, it was gone. I drove until the sky started to pale and the trees turned from black teeth into just trees again. I parked at a motel off the highway, the kind with buzzing fluorescents and curtains that never quite close. I got a room on the second floor because I couldn't stand the idea of something under me. I checked every corner, every closet, the shower curtain, the space behind the drapes. Nothing. I sat on the edge of the bed and told myself the simplest truth. I was exhausted. I was paranoid. Fear makes patterns out of nothing. I fell asleep with the lamp on. I woke up at 11:59, not from a sound, from a feeling, like the air had thickened, like the room had become smaller. The clock beside the bed glowed red. 11:59. The motel was silent in that unnaturally perfect way that tells you the world is holding its breath. I sat up slowly. The lamp was still on, but the light looked wrong. Dimmer, sickly, like it had to fight its way through the air. Then the clock rolled over. 12 o'clock, and the light went out. The room didn't go dark all at once. It folded into darkness, like someone pulled a blanket over the world. My phone on the nightstand lit up by itself. No notification, no call, just the screen waking. A notes page opened. One word already there, as if someone's finger had been waiting. Stay. My mouth went dry. I grabbed it, thumbs shaking, and deleted it. Closed the app. Opened it again. The word was back. Stay. And underneath it, a new line appeared. Letter by letter. Slow and steady, like it was enjoying this. You move, I move. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the carpet. The screen didn't crack. It didn't even dim. It just sat there glowing, like an eye. Then I heard footsteps. Not outside, not in the hallway, inside the room. Bare feet on carpet don't make much sound, but when someone walks slow enough, you can hear the fibers compress. Step, pause, step, pause. Coming from the side of the bed I wasn't on. I didn't turn my head. I couldn't. Fear locked my neck like a brace. Something pressed down on the mattress beside me. The dip was gentle, careful, like someone sitting down. Then a weight leaned closer, close enough that I felt warm air on my ear, and the same voice from behind my bedroom door, from my car radio, from the pit of that house, soft and intimate and wrong, whispered, "You don't get to decide where home is.